Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. On the agenda tonight, we have Buckethead, and I've had quite a few requests to look at this video, so let's get Buckethead up on screen and see how he's getting on. This is from 2012, I believe, and it's going to be Soothsayer, so let's have a little listen and see what happens.
6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So I'm just going to stop it there because just to explain about Buckethead, he's got a KFC bucket on tonight. I've also seen him with an unbranded bucket on his head, and just the approach of having something that makes you anonymous. I think there was a singer that I saw on a talk show once, I think she was called Sia, who had her hair down to her chin because she didn't want to kind of be recognised or didn't want the fame or kind of along those lines. But we've got Buckethead here who's doing a similar thing, and one of the things about having an image that is totally out there and totally different, you've got to be good. You can imagine if somebody came on stage and they just had a KFC bucket on their head and they had a mask and they weren't that good at guitar. It would just be a bit of a laughing stock. But Buckethead here, he started with something really nice and really melodic, and you're instantly drawn in to this nice clean playing, really cool little trills, pull-offs as well. Obviously he's playing to a backing track. This is just basically a one-man show, so Buckethead has his tracks, starts his backing track and then starts playing along with it. In this video in particular, we've got quite a high mix on the guitar, especially from wherever this was being filmed, from somebody in the crowd, so we get a really great appreciation of his guitar work, his guitar tone, and the sound of his playing as well. But I actually really like the approach of being anonymous and nobody knowing who you are. Sometimes you might get an artist who is a really great singer or really great player or guitar player, and they might have quite outspoken views, and people get alienated from that person, not because of the music, but because of their views. So this is the perfect solution for me, really. Just be anonymous and present your music for the art that it is. But back to the playing here, really cool stuff so far. Nice little pull-offs, and I'm sure things are going to get a lot more interesting as we move on. People that watch this channel a lot will be waiting for a gradual increase in dynamics and tension and looking for the crescendo at the end, but I'm sure we're going to get there with more overdrive added to the sound as we progress. And there we go, there was that really cool dramatic change. The eagle-eyed viewers out there will see that just before he gets into his heavy sound, just bridge pickup and straight into 10, on his guitar, into that overdrive sound, and some really cool playing. This is straight away, something that you can tell that he's got his techniques down. He can just run through the shapes really smoothly, and I can actually understand the parallels with Paul Gilbert, because his hands actually do look really similar. He's got such a great stretch. Even in this pause that we see here, we can only see 2/3 of that left hand in terms of his third finger, and it's probably the length of most people's full finger. So he's going to have a great stretch. It's one of those things that really lends itself to technical playing, but obviously you've got to put the practice in to get your technical playing up to a particular level where it is that impressive. But really great change there dynamically, and then pulling it straight back into that pure clean, little bit of delay on this tone here, but a really nice clean sound back into the playing that actually is really difficult when you're playing on such a clean tone. Everyone's listening for those pull-offs and those picks to be A1, and they've got to be A1 all the time because it's so clean that any little mistake will stand out like a sore thumb. I'm just going to butt in here again. I know there's some really cool stuff here, and stopping it, you kind of don't want to stop it because you want to listen to it all the time. But I just want to butt in to say so many guitarists overplay and just solo all the time. And this is why writing an instrumental is so difficult, especially for just guitar players, because Buckethead here is just playing the rhythm, just playing the chords. And there's so much to be said for a great riff and just strumming out some great chords, because the progression speaks for itself and it lays the foundation for then taking the track to another place. And if you imagine if he started playing at minute 1 and he was shredding straight away, he'd have 5 minutes more of shredding. And that kind of playing and music without any melody will just keep your dynamics on the same plane for that whole 6 minutes, and you'll just lose everyone. The only people that really keep listening are the ones who maybe play guitar and are appreciating the technical aspect of what you're playing. There's got to be a journey in there. I've said that about Joe Satriani as well, and Steve Vai, guys that have instrumentals just where the guitar's the main focus. You've got to have the light and the shade, and you've got to change it up all the time to keep people's interest. You've got to do something that's melodic, that actually talks to people on a musical level and an emotional level, and that's where the dynamics comes in. And the great thing here is Buckethead is now just playing those chords and really keeping it interesting. I'm just going to stop it there because we had so much in that little passage there as well. A lot of people watching this will notice, if you've seen my videos before, vibrato and Buckethead's vibrato as well. He's very rarely just holding on a note. He'll always apply a little bit of vibrato. What I also love here about Buckethead's playing are the 3-note per string scales. If you do play yourself, basically just a quick insight into what's going on is when you play 3 notes per string in a scale, it's a lot easier to speed up and then naturally change from one string to the next string. It's just a more economical way of playing, and his 3-note per string scales here really cool, really fast. His kind of alternate picking, but also the ability to hammer on and pull off through these runs as well is really impressive. So yeah, he's really kind of upping the ante here with throwing in some really cool speed playing. There we go, and that's the end of the video there. And with Buckethead's playing, you can see that he's really got his techniques down. And a lot of players out there who have got to the point of learning 3-note per string scales, they'll recognize a lot of these runs, and I can see why he gets compared with Paul Gilbert, because a lot of these lines and these shapes you'll actually see on Paul Gilbert DVDs kind of back from the 80s. But it's one thing to kind of know the lines, it's another thing to practice them to that point. And he's got a really great alternate picking technique as well. He's got that ability to hammer on and pull off to get that legato sound, but also get that really aggressive sound with alternate picking. But thank you so much for suggesting this video for me to take a look at. Keep those suggestions coming in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Rock!